Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Knuth, Assistant Director of Student Life and the Advisor for Campus Activities Board. So today's event is to celebrate First Generation Students Week, and we are joined by GOAL y Amigos, who is going to present on Scholarships 101. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, actually, first, before I flip it over to Joanne, I just want to let you guys know that for attending this event today, either live tonight or on the recording, that we are doing a drawing for a $50 gift card to Target. So stay tuned after the presentation. I will show you how we're going to track the participation for that so that you guys can be entered into the drawing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joanne. Dr. Alvarez, Dr. Joe with GOAL y Amigos.
Hello, everybody. Joanne Alvarez here. Thank you for coming to today's event. I'm the advisor to GOAL y Amigos. GOAL y Amigos stands for Graduating Outstanding Achieving Latinos and Friends. And so, friends, we thank you all for being here today. Today's presentation is going to be led by two students who not only graduated from Ivy Tech, but are members, alumni to GOAL, yes, graduates from Ivy Tech, yay to them, but also alumni to GOAL y Amigos. So they were with our student organization, very impressive GOAL members, I might add. And so I'm super proud of them. I'm gonna let each of them introduce themselves, but you guys will get to know them. And I want you to ask questions because these two students, not only are they bright and motivated and do wonderful things for the community, they're also very down to earth. So ask them whatever questions you might have, because this will be an interactive workshop. All right, thank you. I'm gonna turn it over to Nico, Karina. You guys go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello there, I'm Nico Rivera. I'm a current Trine University student, but I graduated from Ivy Tech in 2018.
Hi everyone, my name is Karina and I'm an alumni from Ivy Tech from 2017. Let me just start sharing this PowerPoint real quick. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So like I said, I graduated from Ivy Tech with the General Studies in 2017, and then I transferred to Manchester and I got a bachelor's in biochemistry and a minor in Spanish. I was a GOAL member and I was the secretary for a whole year, and it was amazing. It was the best club that I ever joined, and I'm not saying it because I'm biased, like I actually mean it. And now I'm working as an Eli Lilly scientist in the small molecule design and development department. And I earned more than 100,000 in scholarships. So today we will be showing you guys some of our tricks. Sorry.
And like I said, my name's Nico Rivera. I graduated from Ivy Tech in 2018. I study exercise science or kinesiology at Trine. I was in GOAL for 2 years, treasurer for 1. I was also the president of PTK on campus there in Fort Wayne for a year. This semester is my last semester at Trine. I'm graduating class of 2020, woo, and I earned more than 100,000 in scholarships and grants over my time at Trine and Ivy Tech.
So why did I need scholarships? My main reason why I needed scholarships was because I cannot apply for FAFSA because of my immigration status. So I needed to pay my whole college out of pocket. So I needed to find different, sources that could help me. So I took a year off coming out from high school to Ivy Tech, and I was working like 60 to 70 hours a week to be able to earn enough to go to college. So I was like dying almost every week, and I told myself that I was never going to do that. So then that's when I realized that getting scholarships could help me reduce my hours at work. So I was able to focus on what was important, which was my future. I also have a younger sister. So I wanted her to know that it was possible to go to college and be able to earn a degree without having to work long hours and like gain those skills to be able to teach her and lead her on, as well as helping others, which is why I wanted to do this workshop as well.
And likewise, I was kind of also on my own for paying for college. Since middle school, my father's been disabled and my mom entered the disabled list my first year of college as well. And she was the breadwinner of my family. So I had to start working and paying for school. And once I got to Trine, I mean, I went from paying the $2,000 per semester at Ivy Tech to like $20,000 per semester at Trine. So I had to figure out some way to pay for that.
Now, one of the hardest things to do when looking for scholarships is being able to know the difference between an actual website that you could apply to rather than a website that might be trying to trick you or get money from you. So I would like you guys to put in the chat which one of these websites do you guys think is the real website. So either A or B. Yeah, so we got 2 answers and you guys are correct. 8 is the right answer. It's actually an organization here in town that's called HLCNI. So this is where I got it from. And the one under, it's definitely not a real one. So when you're looking for credible sources, one of the things that you should definitely look for is established institutions. So like we have HLCNI, Latinos Count, and different organizations throughout the community, and you should be able to find like websites and always look at the bottom of the website. Usually they have a date when they updated it, or sometimes they have like award winners that like they won the scholarships past years. So also look for that and make sure that you always like filter your websites instead of for the scholarships. Use social media as well, because you can tell if a organization is still active by their social media. So that's a good thing to do, just because you don't want to.
Well, I'll just continue from there. It's always a good idea to reach out to previous winners. They can give you the best tips and tricks for winning the scholarship because they've done it before. Also, scholarships will never charge you to apply. That's a huge red flag. I've heard of people applying to the FAFSA before and having fees attached to it because there's a FAFSA.gov and like a FAFSA.com where scammers are trying to get their information. So always be on the lookout for people trying to charge.
Okay, just remember, never pay for scholarships.
So the basic structure of any application usually starts with the name, address, age, school, etc. They want your information so that they know how to reimburse you for the scholarship. Educational evidence, they want to know that you're currently in school and not just trying to get some easy money. They'll probably ask for some recommendation letters. I've seen 2 to 5 before. They'll ask you to do essays based on prompts that they'll give you. And they'll also probably ask for a resume or a CV.
Now, another thing that they might ask you for is recommendation letters. And this is like one of the most important things of a scholarship, just because they want to know how people actually view you and how like you carry yourself. So the best thing is for you to find someone that you're very close with. Like always try to build relationship with your professors, with your advisors, and even with like people in clubs, because they will be the ones that know how you work in a like professional setting. So always make sure that you build those relationships through college, and that's one of the most important things to do. Like it says here, a letter from someone who knows you is worth 10 letters from people who only know you like in the base of what you are. So it's best for you to actually invest in these relationships and not just ask random people like, can you write this recommendation letter for me? And you like probably only went to their office hours once and you only see them in class. So that's definitely, stay away from those, and don't choose a person who's unreliable or forgetful. A lot of our professors or advisors might have a lot in their plate. So it's usually good to send them a reminder like, hey, I was just checking up and following up. Did you fill out this recommendation letter for me? I know it sounds like you were being annoying, but in reality, you're not. It's good that you like follow up with these things. A thing that happened to me personally is that I lost a scholarship because I just assumed that like my advisor sent my recommendation letter, but she had a lot in her plate and she actually didn't realize that she didn't fill it out, that she forgot to send it. So always try to keep an eye on that. Another thing is try to have a diverse pool of people to ask. So make sure you don't only ask your professors. as advisors, your bosses at work, or even like friends at clubs. Sometimes they write pretty good recommendation letters. You want to add some things for essays, Nico?
Sure. So usually, like I said, an essay will start with a prompt. It can either be very vague or very specific. Like they could ask you for an example of one time you faced adversity and how you overcame it. Or more specifically, they could say, what has this organization meant to you? And ask for a more personal story. You should always get a second, third, fourth opinion on your essays. Try to get constructive feedback, not just, that was really good. I was really bad at that for people that would ask me for feedback. But over time, you just get better and better at it. This is also really good because we can be our own harshest critics. I know I hold myself to a really high standard when it comes to those kind of things. So having a second or third opinion is always a great thing. And always try to balance your essays. I have a friend named Emmanuel, and I have this rule that I made up based on something he said to me. So I applied to this scholarship 2 times and I got rejected twice, and it really hurt, and I was really considering not applying again. But I had this friend named Emmanuel who had won it previously, and I said, Emmanuel, what am I doing wrong here? So he took a look at my essay and he was like, Nico, this is obviously a really personal essay. It's really strongly written, but it's 60 to 80% hardship and then 20% of what you learned. I want you to do 20% problem, 20% solution, and then 60% of what you learned. I want to see that you overcame this and what you took away from it and how this has affected your dreams going forward. And I always thought that was really brilliant advice.
Another thing that you need to keep in mind is making sure that you don't rush through your essays. So I know sometimes as like college students, we like to leave things like last minute, because I was a college student, so I know I left things until the last minute possible. But what helped me overcame this is I had a timeline of when I needed to turn it in. And I would give myself like deadlines, like by this day, I have to have at least 3 paragraphs done. And by this day, one person should have read my essay and got feedback. And then by this day, I should have it all finalized, usually a week before. So it gives you a little bit of room to make any changes in that week if you want to. And make sure that you don't like reread your essay like 4 or 5 times. Like that's not going to be helpful for you. It's better for you to get a new pair of eyes and they will give you more feedback.
So continuing on, always try to use your essays to stand out from the crowd. This should be personal to you because your experiences are personal to you. You should be honest. Don't try to play up any experiences. There's a reason people are chosen as judges. They can see through that stuff really easily. And try to get input from people who are who know you. Similar to the recommendation letters, people that know you have a different perspective of you than you have of yourself. So for example, Joanne writes really good letters of recommendation. And when I read her, one of the recommendation letters she wrote for me, she said Nico was always there first, helping set stuff up for goal events, and he was always the last person to leave. And I take that stuff for granted, but that really stood out to her, and it made a really strong recommendation letter.
One thing like with essays that I often struggle with is selling myself. So I'm those kind of people that if I do like 50 things, I'm probably going to tell you one thing that I did instead of those 50 things that I do. So usually it's good for you to ask people feedback about yourself because we are our hardest judges. So it's good to see how others sees us. So it's better for us and easier for us to write the essays and actually get feedback from that. Resume is another tool that makes or breaks a scholarship. So it's important to use your career services department so you can create a strong resume. I'm a fault at this. I never used career services when I was Ivy Tech, and I regret it 100%. When I was about to get my job now, we had to do a resume workshop. It was required for us to do it before we had to submit a resume to our employer. So I went in there and they told me you have great things. It's just disorganized of how it should be. to get like people's attention. Now, if I would have done that when I was Ivy Tech, like I would have got so many more opportunities that I probably lost just because of my pride, because I was like afraid that people will like judge me based on what I had on my resume. But if you guys are like feeling like I did, I feel like you need to get over it, because you're gonna lose so many opportunities if you don't take that, go to career services, or just go like to a resume agency. Sometimes they give you pretty good feedback. Be
And
sure
real
to
quick,
include
Karina,
any. Yes.
I'll add on to that real quick, because I had the opposite problem. I had a resume that had gotten me jobs before, and I was super confident in it. So this was the first time I'd ever gone to a career service department, like in 5 years of college, was this semester. And I did it kind of like on a whim, thinking like, there's nothing they can tell me that I haven't already heard. And I gave them my resume and I got it back and it was just covered in red. They had found so many errors in it and I was like, ouch. But I made those corrections and my resume has never looked better. So always trust career services with a resume.
Yeah, sometimes we're like underconfident, but sometimes we're overconfident on our resumes. Be sure to include like any volunteer experience you have, and also include descriptions of responsibilities with volunteer experiences on your job. What I learned is that people are very number driven. So you could tell them I was in an organization and I used to plan events. They're going to be like, okay, that's great. But if you tell them like I ran an organization of 150 members and I plan this many events that 50, 60 people attend and I make sure things run smoothly, then now you're telling them like what you can actually get from, what they can get from you, like what numbers they can get from you, and like a base to work from. And for formatting matters, like we said here, definitely go to career services. If you haven't had a resume, it's hard sometimes to decide how you want to set it up. So it's a resource that's free and you should use, since it's your paying tuition, it's always good to use it. And include any hard and soft skills you have. Maybe I include that I speak a second language. So I put that I'm very fluent in Spanish. And sometimes that's very good. Like one day it got me a job just because I spoke Spanish and I was able to communicate in both languages. So it's always good to have that. Now, moving on, another thing that you guys should be doing is creating a network. Surround yourself with great people. The people that you surround yourself with now, it's going to be the people that you stay with for like the rest of your life. People that I met at Ivy Tech, I'm still connected with them and they're like already like in careers, and sometimes they're the ones that will be able to help you by getting different scholarships, and they will keep you on the right track. What I used to do is me and my friend Natalie used to set up a certain amount of time every month. So we would tell each other like every Friday, like the third Friday of the month, we're gonna meet at Starbucks and we're gonna just block 2 hours. We're not gonna like talk about anything else. We're gonna like leave our phones in the car and we're gonna look for scholarships. In those 2 hours, that's all we did. We created an Excel sheet that allow us to see different scholarships. So this is always good to do because then you're able to look back the next year and you don't have to start from zero. And during those 2 hours, just focus on finding scholarships, on filling out your applications, on submitting emails for them to send you recommendation letters, and make sure that you always write down the deadline so you never miss a scholarship. And then that Excel sheet, you can even like share it with friends, because now you'll be able to have like 20, 30 scholarships that you could reapply next year instead of having to do it all over again. Yeah, use Snapchat or social media to share or receive scholarship info with friends. So when I was Ivy Tech, they used to do like I am the I scholarship, and you will stand in front of like the I of the Ivy Tech sign and you will share it on Facebook. And then you, if you got so many likes, like you will get the scholarship. And that was my first scholarship. Like that's why I became so passionate about scholarships, because I shared it and it was like, I don't know, I have so much adrenaline from it. Like people will like it and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I cannot let them like be me, because I'm a very competitive person. And most of the time, like these scholarships go on claim because people are like, oh, well, so many people apply for them, I'm sure I will never get it. But in reality, like most of the time they don't apply for them. Like those scholarships go on claim. So definitely keep in mind on that. and set calendar reminders and websites for letter applications. So on your phone, like we're always on our phones, make sure you set up reminders like every week or every month to make sure that you're keeping track of what you're applying for, and never miss a deadline on that too. Would you like to add anything else, Nico?
I think you covered it. I think you did a great job there, Karina.
Like I said, anything you wish I knew, it was that so many scholarships got on claim every year. I remember back in high school when I was like applying for colleges, there was like 2-3 different scholarships that I let passed out just because I was like, people probably apply for it, I'm never gonna get it. But in reality, one of them approached me and was like, why didn't you finish your application? And I was like, oh, I don't know, I just didn't have time. And they told me like I was the only scholar applying. So if I would have finished the application, I would have got it. But in reality, I got into my head and I just, like, I pretty much lost it just because of that. And another thing is apply to every single one. Like I said, qualified and ask questions, reach out to them, get your name out there. That's a big thing. I got many scholarships just because I will meet them through LinkedIn or through like different like career fairs, and I will like put my name out there. And then when scholarships will come out, they will remember my name. Always be friendly to them. Don't be mean, because then they will remember you because you were mean instead of because you were nice. But then they will be able to give me scholarships that way because now they have a face to put in my name.
Exactly. And if I gave you any advice, would be to take every opportunity that comes your way. This doesn't necessarily just pertain to scholarships. This is any opportunity to volunteer, to help someone. I know being a part of GOAL led me to so many great things. Like I won scholarships, and I had the opportunity to go to the Dominican Republic and volunteer in a mobile pharmacy. Like, who does that? I did that because I took that opportunity. You'll meet so many great people along the way. Just say yes to everything, really. Apply to every scholarship, work hard in school, always find time to volunteer. You're probably not going to graduate with work experience. Actually, you're Ivy Tech, so you might. But volunteer experience is huge. It'll fill up that resume if you have no work experience. And that's always something to keep in mind.
And that's like a really good advice, because the job that I have now, I wouldn't have got if it wasn't from Nico and another one of our friends, Brian. They sent me an internship and I was like, I'm definitely not qualified for it. Like, I'm never going to get it. And then they were like, you need to apply, like you will get it. And I applied for that internship, and that internship led to a job. And now, like, thanks to that, like if it wasn't for Nico, I wouldn't have the job I have now. So make sure you take those opportunities. So where to start, it's a big question. These are just some of the, I guess, like some of the websites that you can start with. So College Board, it's a good website because you put in your like your name, but you also put like where you want to go. So kind of like your income, or maybe if you're a minority or if you're first generation. So College Board, what it does is it's a data that like puts in your information and pulls out a bunch of scholarships that you qualify for. So it could be like first generation scholarships, it could be minority scholarships. So that's a good way to start. There's also Scholar Track. I didn't use that one. So Nico, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, that one's pretty much exclusively for grants through the government. Your Pell Grants, your O'Bannon Grants, things like that are all located on Scholar Track. And my financial aid department didn't know that I qualified for one of these grants. So I had to like go in person to like fix it for them. So it's really important that you get on Scholar Track and make sure you're getting all the grants you're supposed to get.
So the scholarship spreadsheet from us, me and Nico, like we said, we were like the king and queen of scholarships when we were at Ivy Tech. Like we used to apply to every single one and we will try to get every scholarship. So we created a spreadsheet that puts like all of the scholarships that you could get that we got. So it's not every single one, but we can definitely pass it on to whoever is interested. University websites is another one. Sometimes they post scholarships like go and claim, and not a lot of people know about it. If you guys are transferring to a four-year college, this is a huge one, just because they have a lot of transfer scholarships that sometimes we don't know about. So when I transferred to Manchester, I transferred as a transfer student, and I got $30,000 every year just by being a transfer student. So like they usually don't have a lot of transfers, so they do want them to come to their college. So sometimes they have those big scholarships. So look into that. The advisors is another one. Joanne was my biggest resource for me. Like I would ask her and she will send me scholarships. Like I remember one day she sent me a scholarships and she was like, it's due tomorrow. And I was like, what? Okay, well, I pulled out a like essay. I stayed up late doing the essay and we turned it in and I got the scholarship. And definitely ask your professors and advisors to keep you in mind for scholarships. I didn't use the last resource, so I'm gonna let Nico explain a little bit more about
I got you. So my first few years of college, I didn't assume that I would get any financial aid. I never stepped foot inside of a financial aid department, and it was the worst decision. You qualify for a lot of scholarships you might not know about. It wasn't until I actually got out there and I went and I met Sam Witten, who, to my knowledge, is still working at Ivy Tech. And he was like, oh, you qualify for this, and this. And I was blown away. And I ended up getting my tuition paid for that way. So even if you don't think you qualify for any financial aid, go check first and check again. And then this is new for the Fort Wayne campus. There's a Felicia Henry Nylon scholarship. She was previously the trio coordinator for the Ivy Tech campus, 2013 to 2020. And this scholarship is for 3 free credit hours at the Ivy Tech Fort Wayne campus. It's open to first generation college students, and it's a simple application and essay to apply. So I encourage everyone in this chat to go and apply to this.
And that's a great way to start already. Like that's a scholarship that it's at your school. Yeah. And you can get 3 credit hours. Like that's a whole class that you don't have to pay for.
That's massive. The next slide is going to be essay prompts. So when writing this essay, Ivy Tech wants you to answer these 3 questions. So what does it mean to you to identify as a first generation college student or as a continuing generation student? So the first generation college student, as Ivy Tech is defining it, is someone whose parents didn't go to a 4-year institution. So if they have an associate's degree or certification through Ivy Tech, say, you still qualify to apply for this scholarship. Barriers or challenges that's unique to you. Describe a person or department who has served as an educational guide or mentor. We all have someone. For us, me and Karina, Joanne was huge for us. We could write essays all day about Joanne.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hey guys, real quick, regarding the Felicia Henry Nylon scholarship, Carrie, do you want to speak about the essay contest that we have going on this week that can gain you the 3 credit hour scholarship? Is that the one we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Any currently registered student can apply for that. And there's actually a prize for the first 10 submissions too, just for taking the time to kind of do the essay prompts. You would get a $10 Barnes & Noble gift card. And I know that we haven't gotten 10 yet. So there's still some spots for that. And then the winner will be selected by a panel or committee that will read the essays, and they'll be awarded a 3 credit hour scholarship for spring. And we would love to have you guys apply. Felicia was a coordinator in our TRIO Student Support Services program and was so passionate about students, first gen students. And she had the idea for the essay contest, I think 2 years ago. And we were always buried. We never made it happen. And I thought to myself, well, we've got to make it happen this year in honor of her. So definitely look into that.
Awesome. And just, and so I did leave the link to that scholarship in the box there. The website is link.ivytech.edu first gen essay, and the first is with a 1 ST. So first gen essay for that. And once again, it is not closed just to first gen students. It's open to any students, but it is talking about the first part of the essay questions are talking about the first gen experience. So even if you're a continuing ed student and not first gen, just be prepared to kind of answer some of those questions about what you feel the first gen experience is, and you know, how that might affect you. So
now we can take any questions in case you guys want to learn a little bit more. Okay,
There's actually a question in the chat from Tracy.
Okay, it says, how early is too early to begin applying? My son is a junior in high school. I think usually like at the beginning of your senior year might be the prime time to start applying, but just because he's a junior doesn't mean he shouldn't be preparing for it. So what my sister did, since I already had experience with the whole college experience, what my sister did was she started looking for scholarships her junior year. So even though she couldn't apply for them, she will write them down or create a document with them. And then the following year when she was a senior, they usually have a lot of stuff to do. So she just went to that document and like start applying for them instead of having to look for them. So that's a good place to start. I don't know
And
if you
also,
have other advice.
It's never too early to start making those connections. I know in chat right now we have Steve Corona, who is the president of Latinos Count in Fort Wayne. Definitely hit him up. He'd love to talk to you.
And that's another scholarship that you can apply for as well.
Yes.
And there you go. You're gonna leave here with like 2 scholarships already that you can apply for. The organization that I mentioned earlier, HLCNI, is another organization that also gives out scholarships every year. So keep that one in mind. Susan, are you talking about Latinos Count? Oh, there you go. Nico answered it for you in the chat.
I got you.
Thank you.
Please keep them coming, guys.
Yes,
Doesn't have to be about
only
scholarships. We can talk about life.
Hey, Nico and Karina, this is Steve Corona, and enjoyed your presentation. I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for the information you're sharing, but also, you're right, Latinos Count will be issuing 15 $1,000 scholarships. Now, the catch here is that in addition to some of the normal requirements, at least one of the student's parent must be of Hispanic or Latino descent. The other item I wanted to pass by, and you spent significant time on this, was your resume and essays. And I'd like to get with Joanne and try to figure out how we might be able to offer some workshops to all students, all interested students, irrespective of their ethnicity. I know in the past we have brought in HR folks from Parkview and others, and I think we'd be more than happy to bring those people back. Additionally, we may be aware of some scholarship opportunities for students, so I'll make sure that I share that information with Joanne and make sure that we are offering as many opportunities for students. So this has been a great workshop. I appreciate it.
Okay, so another question was from Susan. She said, could you guys be my scholarship coaches? I didn't read mine. Yeah, of course. I'm gonna put in my email in the box in case you want to reach out anytime for anyone. I'm more than happy to answer questions for you. I went through the process with myself and then with my sister, and then Nico has been through it a lot of times too.
Far too many.
Can you put your email in the chat, Nico, if you want to?
I beat you to it. I am not really available during these next 2 weeks because it's finals week at Trine, but I'm happy to help anytime.
I actually have free time now that I'm not in college, so I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Can you guys tell us about how does the sort of refund process work? So if you've gotten $100,000 in scholarships, what happens to that extra money once tuition is covered?
Yeah, so I actually, so like I didn't got any like surplus money. So for me, it was like I will always be exact to the point of like I needed $40,000. I will get $40,000 and that's it. But my sister, she got a full ride scholarship and she didn't know anything about it. Like she learned about it later on, and she already applied for like a lot of scholarships by then because she didn't thought she was gonna get the full ride. So they gave her the money. It had to go through her school first. So they had to like give the scholarship money to the school. And then the school will give you, they will just direct deposit it into your account because they should have it on file. And if they don't, they will reach out to you. So if you have like, even if you have 50 or $5 surplus on your scholarships, they will give it back to you. And you always have to make sure that the scholarships say you can use for tuitions, books, or like room and board. Because if it's only for tuition, most likely they will give the money back to the organization. So that's like the catch with scholarships too. And most of them give it to like a broad scope of things. So most of them do give it to the student if they're surplus on money. Did that answer your question, Tracy? Okay.
I also had a question.
Yeah.
You guys talk a lot about like first generation students and minorities and stuff, and I'm just not exactly sure where I would fit into that. Both my parents have bachelor's and master's, but they live in Venezuela, and I moved here myself 3 years ago. That because I'm not a citizen, not yet, and I was just wondering, like, how these scholars.
So Veronica, for that, you might want to go on a scholarship by scholarship basis, contacting the individual people that are in charge of the scholarship. I'm sure based on your situation, you would still qualify for any scholarships for minority or first generation students. But again, go by each scholarship in each organization.
Okay.
So I'm a DACA student, which is like a different than like a lot of immigration statuses that they have. So what I would do is like not every single scholarship listed if I could apply. So I would send them an email like, do you accept DACA? And if they don't know what it is, you can educate them to whatever your immigration status is or your like personal situation is.
Okay. Thank you.
One
Veronica,
additional comment. One additional comment on that, and is we just had a Zoom conference with a student who's attending New Haven and her counselor, Tina Antrim. And we were able to have a conversation with two students that are exactly like you. They're not DACA. I would call you an international student. And both the students, in fact, Joanne, I think, knows them, Michael Guidon and Angel Pilates, same situation as you. And they would be two great resources to figure out how you can get through college. They know the ropes and had great information for this student. I think would be able to help you as well. And I'll make sure that I have their contact information not with me, but I can provide that for you. And they are more than willing to share their experience as to how they started at Ivy Tech and were able then to move across the street and are working on their 4-year degree. So it's possible. I didn't think so before we started our conference, our meeting, but these two young men are as clever as Nico and Corinna in making sure that if you want a college degree, you're going to get one.
Oh, that's great. That would help me a lot. My email should be on the chat.
Okay.
I just shared it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do you guys have any more questions?
Anything at all, guys. We're here to help.
I do. How did you guys choose to come to Ivy Tech? How did you make that decision?
So for me, it was a very hard decision for me. So I was that person that like always did everything 100% to try to get to the best university possible, just because I wanted to make my parents proud. And when I was in high school, I applied to like a bunch of schools and I got accepted to them. But that's when reality hit me that I couldn't afford them. And most of them were not giving me money. Like they were like, you can come here for sure, but you had to pay that $80,000 a year kind of thing. So I took a year off, and like I mentioned earlier, and I actually started working like long hours, like like a lot, and having 2 to 3 jobs. And I remember Ivy Tech sent me their acceptance letter, and I was just like, that's my safety net school. Like I cannot go there. Like people are gonna be like, how dare you go there? But in reality, when the year came up, I ended up signing up for classes, and it was the best decision. Like I decided to take a leap of faith, and I think Ivy Tech is definitely played down by a lot of people. But believe me, like I went to a 4-year college, and Ivy Tech is 100% better than that 4-year college I went to. And that's a great way to start it. Like I save money. And now that like people ask me where I went, I always tell them like Ivy Tech first. Like I never tell them my 4-year college. And that's why I decided, but I didn't regret it one bit.
So for me, I never planned on going to Ivy Tech. I was going to go to Purdue first in Fort Wayne, but I was homeschooled for high school. So I didn't have the necessary test scores from high schools in Indiana, and I was flat out rejected. So like Karina, I took a gap year. I tried to figure myself out. And at the end of it, I was like, well, I could start at Ivy Tech and then just transfer credits over to Purdue, and I'd still end up at Purdue without having to do any like additional stuff. So I went there for a semester and I liked it. And I was like, I could transfer now, but it's a lot more money. So I went there another semester and I was like, well, I'm halfway to an associate's. So I went for the associates, and then I was like, oh man, but there's this new program that's coming out. So basically I was there for like 4 years, 3 years, 4 years. I ended up getting a bunch of associates and licenses. But like Karina said, I'm at a 4-year university now, and it's not the same as Ivy Tech. It's a pretty special place. Like even now, I'll walk around campus with like an Ivy Tech hoodie. People be like, "We're trying," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." But it was the best decision for me.
We all have an ongoing joke that Nico just wanted to stay by Joanne, so that's why he got so many scholars.
Joanne
So
kicked
many.
me out.
I had
Like,
an,
it's
I
time
was
to
just
go.
gonna share. I had a nice conversation with Nico about it was time to go.
Yeah, it was about that time. But yeah, it ended up being the best decision for me because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And if I had gone to that 4-year university first, I would have been in a lot of debt. So Ivy Tech is great. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and it also helped me with my network. Like people that I met there, now we're like, hey, there's this scholarship. Like that's what we used to do. We created a group chat and we would send the scholarship. Like, and that's like a great like advice that I would give you. Like, don't be selfish with the scholarships. Like if you find one, pass it around. Like give the opportunity to other people. Like you might think, oh, they will win it. Like I don't want them to win it. No, like in reality, however many people applied is the best, because then what if you all get it? And that's what most of the time that's what will happen. We will all apply for it and we will all get it. So definitely like rely on your peers.
Yeah, the people at Ivy Tech are one of the best parts of Ivy Tech for sure. You make some of the best friends of your life if you get out there.
I need to go, but I just need to tell everybody online that I work with all the local universities in town, and Nico is absolutely right. There is no other institution that cares more about its students than Ivy Tech, and you know, that's led by Joanne, but all her peers that are on this call. And secondly, what I want to make sure you understand is that GOAL is the place to be. It's the place where Nico and Karina met other people. And you've got to create that circle of friends around you that watches out for you, because these two have done that for each other and for their other people in GOAL. And so I think Ivy Tech is a great place to start. I work with the Ivy Tech organizations in South Bend and Lake County, and they're good people. But far and away, Ivy Tech Northeast is a great institution. They care about its people. They care about its students.
Thank you, Steve. That was a great plug.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your words and joining us.
Thank you so much for that, Steve.
You're welcome.
Any
So
more
at this-
questions here, guys?
Yeah, at this point it's 6 o'clock or a little bit after 6, but we want to make sure that all of your questions are answered. Now's the time. Karina and Nico each won $100,000 or earned that in scholarships. So please, 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 now this is the time to either get some contact information or ask your questions before we shut out for the evening.
I was wondering, what's GOAL? Like, how do you join or?
You happen to be speaking with the advisor for GOAL. Joanne, here's your chance. Plug.
Sure. So I'll quickly, I don't want to take away from this scholarship time, but I'll quickly share GOAL y Amigos. GOAL stands for Graduating Outstanding Achieving Latinos, the Amigos, the and friends, right? Because it's a very multicultural student organization, and we do a lot on campus. And if you're interested, I will also send you an email with our contact information. We meet every other Tuesday for an hour and a half, and it's about exactly what they've talked about. It's networking and support for students so that they have each other. More than anything, it's about them having that connection while they're on campus, trying to have fun while they get to graduation. So we welcome you. If you're interested, I will definitely shoot you an email and send you the information.
Yes, please. I'm very interested.
I know
Awesome.
COVID is happening, but when it's not, like those friends that you make at GOAL, like we used to play cards during finals week just because we knew we were all stressed out and we would just act like we weren't, but we were. And like you would just play games with them. And like I don't think I'm ever gonna have like get back to those moments, but I'm friends with all of them and all of them are very close friends to me. So oh, and then Carrie said in the chat, you can also check out all the student organizations on campus, ivylife.ivytech.edu.
Right, because Veronica, I also want Carrie, just so that Carrie can share, there's TRIO Leadership Council, right? And we were brought together by TRIO. I'm very proud of TRIO. I'm actually a product of TRIO. I was part of the Upward Bound program while I was in high school back in Texas. And so TRIO is near and dear to my heart. And so Carrie, you want to tell them a little bit about the TRIO Leadership Council?
Yeah, so TRIO, we have the program, which is our grant-funded student support service program, and that's for students if they're first generation, low income, like if you're receiving a Pell Grant or other grant aid, or if you have a disability, and that's a program students can apply for to receive services. But TRIO Leadership Council is open to any student or a student organization through Student Life, and we try to plan campus events that help elevate first gen students, raise awareness to student resources on campus. We've done some volunteerism in the on-campus food pantry pre-COVID. And it's just a good place to meet other students. Sometimes I tell people that maybe joining the council is a good step before you think about TRIO, the program, because you're gonna meet people, you'll get to know what we offer as a program. And then if you find out you're eligible, you can honestly be in both. And that's what a lot of our students do. We are meeting virtually this semester. We do not have a regular meeting schedule due to some capacity staffing in our program, but we're hoping to be back to regular virtual meetings for spring. So you can again check that out through the link that Carrie put to with the different student orgs. Thank you.
Thank you.
So guys, I guess if we like sum this up into like 1 or 2 points, I would say just to start getting active on campus and start meeting people, because that's really going to be what leads you to all this success.
Karina, anything else you want to sum up the today's event with?
Network as much as possible, make a lot of friends, and apply to all the scholarships, even though, and internships, and any opportunity, even though you think you don't, like, you will not get it.
Awesome. So with that, a big giant thank you to Karina and Nico for spending your evening with us. We really appreciate you being here. And a big thank you to the rest of you who stuck around to the very end. We appreciate you. Feel free to reach out. I am going to, oh, thank you, Carrie. Carrie put my email address. So if you are interested in me sending you a Zoom link for GOAL y Amigos, go ahead and send me an email. I'll make sure you get that. Veronica, you're on my list. And then Carrie Black, if you want to throw Trio your contact information in case anybody wants to get in touch with Carrie for Trio, she will do that too. Carrie, Miss Carrie Hoffman, do you have any last words?
It's Knuth.
Sorry, I read Hoffman.
That's okay. Yeah, so before everybody logs off, I still want to remind everybody that we're doing that $50 gift card giveaway. I want to show, I did log many of you who RSVP'd to this event. I checkmarked that you've attended, so you don't have to do anything beyond this point. But if you did not RSVP, you do want to follow these steps so that we can track your participation. You can get entered into that drawing. Also, in addition to the $50 drawing that we're doing, everybody that logs their participation is also going to get sent some swag things for first generation. So you're going to get a silicone cell phone wallet and some stickers that you can tag all over your laptop, and I'm going to send that stuff to you through the mail. So in order to track your participation, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. It's very simple. If you guys can see, oh, hold on here. Everybody see my that QR code? Okay, great.
Yes.
So you can take your mobile device and you can snap a picture of this QR code. It's going to automatically link you to the website, the link.ivtech.edu/join first gen panel, with the first being a 1ST. So you can either do the QR code or you can type the link in directly. And what that'll do is that will take you to our Ivy Life page. It will give you a note at the bottom that since you're signed in with your email address, that your participation is now logged, right? You might get a link that says that your participation has already been tracked, and that means that it's cool. I already took care of that for you. But we do want everybody to try this just in case I missed you or anything like that. We want to make sure that your participation is tracked. So you do one of these two things. You either snap the QR code or you type in that link directly. It's going to take you to Ivy Life. You don't have to find your name. You don't have to do anything like that, because as long as you're signed into Ivy Life, it's going to read your email and log you automatically for participation just by going to that link. So we want to make sure that you're here. We want to make sure you get your swag, and we want to make sure that you get entered into that drawing. This is also available to those who are viewing this on the recording, because we are recording this this evening here, and we're going to make that recording available for all time, but we're going to track the participation for this for 2 weeks. So we're going to end the participation on the 25th. So anybody who's viewing this through the 25th can take these steps to log your participation. We will do the drawing after the 25th, and I will email everybody the results of that drawing after the 25th. So if you're on here or if you're viewing this in the recording, take these steps, and you'll hear from me after the 25th to see if you won. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank Joanne and GOAL y Amigos and Nico and Karina for giving us amazing information about scholarships, and Carrie Black from Trio for also co-hosting this event. Campus Activities Board does host events similar to this every week, every Wednesday. Make sure and check out what is available and what's happening every week on campus. Virtually, we do something. So check out all of your event and activities available to you on Ivy Life. So I'm going to turn it back to Joanne.
All right, so just a big thank you to everybody, and we appreciate your time and joining us. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.